those moments was me. Every one of them was my generosity finding a channel through the available means and flowing toward you. You have more evidence for my faithfulness in your own history than you have perhaps been willing to count. The moments were real. The gifts were real. They came from a source that is real and permanent and unchanged by the seasons in which no gift seemed to be coming. Now I want to walk through specific areas of your life with you, because my care for you is not abstract. It does not float at a comfortable theological distance from the actual texture of your days. It enters the rooms, it touches the details, it meets you where you actually live. Let us begin in your heart, that interior space where you are most truly yourself, where the real conversations happen, where hope either stays alive or slowly, quietly goes dim. The weight you carry there is fully known to me, not a simplified or summarized version of it. The actual weight in all its specific, textured, complicated fullness. The thing you have been processing alone because it is too complicated or too personal or too vulnerable to hand to another human being. The grief that sits beneath the surface of your days like a piece of furniture in a dark room. Something you navigate around without quite being able to look at directly. The longing that you have learned to muffle because the longing, fully felt, would be almost unbearable. My tenderness toward your heart is not reserved for the moments when your interior life is orderly, and your faith is strong, and your emotions are under good management. My generosity flows toward your heart precisely in the moments of its most raw and exposed need, because the healing of your heart is not a secondary priority that I get to after the more important spiritual work is done. It is the work. It is central. It is the very thing that restoration means. And I pour into that interior space the oil of gladness in exchange for mourning. I exchange heaviness for lightness. I come into the room that has been closed up for too long, and I open the windows and let in air that has been kept out, because I am your father, and I cannot observe a wounded heart in my child without being moved to do something about it. Consider the relationships in your life second, the connections that feel strained by the accumulated weight of unresolved things, the family table that has empty chairs for reasons that are painful to hold in your awareness, the friendships that have drifted in ways you mourn a little in private, the longing for real, seen, known belonging that rises up unexpectedly in quiet moments and reminds you of how much connection matters to you. My generosity reaches into all of that. The running father of the prodigal son's story did not receive his returning child with the measured, cautious welcome of someone protecting themselves from being hurt again. He ran. He saw the figure approaching from a long way off, and he ran, and he embraced him. And before the son had finished the speech he had prepared, before the apology was complete, before any accounting of what had been lost or spent or wasted, the father called for the best robe and the ring and the celebration, because the lost son was found. Because the lavishness of a father's love does not require full restoration of what was spent before it flows. That is my posture toward every broken relationship in your life, toward every person in your story who needs to find their way home, toward every connection that feels like it might be beyond repair. I am the God who makes things new. The rebuilding of what has been damaged is not a secondary concern for me. It is one of the primary ways my nature expresses itself in the world. Your sense of purpose. Third, that persistent, returning question of what your life is actually for. Whether the gifts inside you will ever have a full and fitting place to be expressed. Whether the path you are on is the one that leads toward the thing you were made for, or whether you have somehow missed the turn that would have led there. Let me be very clear. I do not give gifts and then watch with indifference as they go unplaced or unexpressed. My generosity in equipping you was not a random distribution of abilities with no intentional destination. Every capacity you carry was given with a purpose in mind that I hold with complete faithfulness. The doors that need to open will open. The people who need to come into your path will come. The moments when the gift finds its context, and suddenly you understand why you were made this way, those moments are being prepared. The preparation that feels like waiting is actually something else. It is the careful, attentive work of a father who is making